People. Que pasa, suck, say what they do. Welcome to Crime Time News, where the difference is in the meds. Call it news with a buzz. The hottest topic for about a week or so, and probably for the next week or two, is that incident in which legendary sprinter Usain Bolt lost millions of dollars. 12.7 million US dollars to be exact is the amount that is thrown out there. Now, since this incident occurred, this fraudulent Ponzi scheme called SSL, we see that all of the major players, the Cross-Kerry, the Harding, Gene and Panton, and even some news media, seems as if they are a part of the conspiracy. There's a whole bunch of lies. There's a whole bunch of misinformation. There's a whole bunch of stuff trying to manipulate the information that is out there. The latest thing or scheme or trickery that we see that they are trying is that they are trying to say that we told you that Usain Bolt did not have any sorts of money with SSL. None of the major players knew anything about it, which is hardly unlikely, especially when we are thinking or talking about 12-point-something million dollars. Me no know how much Jamaican invest 12.7 million in any sorts of investment company in Jamaica. So anyways, they are trying to say now that there was an account, LLC, Welljam I think it is, that was formed in St. Lucia. However, the manager of that account, surprisingly, Gene and Panton, one of the signees, Bolt ex-manager, Norman Peart, I think his name is. Not going to say that Norman Peart actually opened that account, conspired with Miss Gene and Panton. He might also be a victim. His signature might have also been forged. So they are trying to paint this narrative as if that is where the money is at. However, people, we know say Usain Bolt is a little man from the country. He is not a financial wizard. So maybe whatever thing that he decided to do, it is based on advice that he thought was professional advice from these wealth managers. I am going to say, in my opinion, that Usain Bolt knew nothing, had nothing in the planning of that account. Was he given advice that yes, St. Lucia is a tax haven for the rich people, which Usain Bolt is? However, as ignorant as you might be to financing and investing, nobody, no care how full them is not going to open any sorts of accounts that is theirs. Whether they are trying to open a shell account, them now go put it in a somebody else's name. Even if them add somebody, they are going to need their signature. So therefore, the narrative that is out there that him knows him open an account is foolish. And I am going to show you the facts. Usain Bolt is now presently represented by a law firm, Frater, Ennis and Gordon it is called. Usain Bolt, through his legal representative, gave the SSL 10 days to come up with his money. Ironically, I think today is a 10th day or so, close to it. On the address that they sent this letter to, it was SSL. SSL 33.5 Hope Road, which is Kingston 10. The last time that I checked, Kingston 10 is in Jamaica. It was not addressed. It was not copied to Welljam LLS or LLC in St. Lucia. Now, I am sure that Usain Bolt was ticked off when he visited that law firm. So therefore, he went with the proper documentation. He knew exactly who or whom he was handing his money to. He would have had documentation, signature of people accepting the money, validating, verifying, vetting that yes, this is my money. I want my money to be invested in some blue chip stocks. That is the advice. He owned blue chip stocks at SSL. That is facts. So therefore, if and when he had that meeting with his lawyer, he did not divulge that, yes, I have an account in a St. Lucia. Nobody is going to do anything that is going to be detrimental to them being refunded their money. So therefore, he is going to have full confidence in this law firm by giving them all the necessary relevant information. So people will see exactly what is going on. We see that the managers, the owners, the top shareholders are trying to distance themselves from having to do with anything as it pertains to Usain Bolt money. I am speaking about the Harding. I am speaking about the Croskery. I am speaking about Mrs. Panton and everybody else in top management. In this whole fiasco Ponzi scheme, I call it. Now, like I said, it is quite obvious that the main culprits in all of this scam, the Croskery, the Harding, the Pantons, and even some radio station, wants to paint a narrative, wants to distance themselves and say it was not me. Even though Panton confessed to 19 victims, none of them Usain Bolts. Now the opposition minister on finance, Julian Robinson, he did an interview and he was asked, what do you notice? What are some of the problems that you realize with SSL trying to wind up, meaning sell them stocks, get rid of assets in the middle of a crisis, in the middle of a high-profile investigation? And he said what he has noticed is that it seems as if a false narrative is being set by a particular news media. He did not call any name. However, you and I know exactly what he is talking about. He said that the new management of SSL that is now overseeing everything should be independent. People, I am going to let you take a listen, take a look to what he has to say, and then I'll give my piece.
So concerned about whether the interim manager has been provided with adequate resources to manage this crisis. Given that the data management systems at the SSL are still open, what resources have been made available to the interim manager to manage the exposure and to prevent further compromise? It is normal in a large and complex insolvency situation that the temporary manager is provided with technical and administrative support. As it now stands, this manager may have to depend on current staff of SSL, some of whom may be implicated in the fraud or who may be compromised by conflicts of interest. It is important that the temporary manager is given the adequate resources to operate independently.
Now, people, like I said, the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Jamaica, they implemented an interim manager to oversee everything. This minister is saying that they should get all the technical and administrative resources that they need. They should be independent. So therefore, the workers, the employees that are at SSL. They have motive. They have reasons. They themselves could be persons of interest, suspect. So therefore, we are speaking about a conflict of interest. There is obvious attempt to manipulate, spread a false narrative, muddy up the water, put out mass confusion out there as to what is going on, to steer people from the facts. These culprits are the Croskery, the Hardings, the SSL company on a whole, the Panton. So he is saying that, listen, use independent employees. The interim manager should go in there independent of anything or anybody that is inside. They need all the resources so that they can investigate. They can get to the bottom of the problem without any sorts of interference, so that the case won't be compromised, so that the investors, the victims, can get full value or get back their money, if that is possible at all. Now the question that I have to ask is that we heard the finance minister saying that the FBI, they are here. The FBI are on the ground. However, we are not getting anything concrete. So the question that everybody is asking, did the finance minister actually call for assistance from the FBI? People, knowing this government, I doubt it very much. However, what we also have to understand is that there are many Jamaican-born U.S. citizens that are victims in this whole Ponzi scheme. So therefore, maybe contact might have been made. Usain Bolt and his team are independent other victims, because like I said before, once it goes over $1 million, you've lost in excess of $1 million US. You can call for assistance from the FBI. So therefore, when we think about the mentality of these leaders in Jamaica, we know that it is self, it is party, and then it is country. So therefore, these leaders would know that if the FBI come in, we are going to get exposed. We're going to get compromised. However, this is a public crisis. This is something that we've never seen in a very long time, since Eagle Group, since FinSoc. However, this might be worse or worser than anything else that we've seen thus far. Now, the next thing that I want to address is a man called Everal Warmington, darker than midnight. Mr. Warmington holds the portfolio for economic growth and job creation. This man is taking something that the former Prime Minister Bruce Golding said very personal. He is coming out and he is defending Andrew Holness as if Andrew Holness is his wife. Pretty much, Mr. Bruce Golding did an interview on a radio station, and he said that the Prime Minister dropped the ball. He was exposing the Prime Minister because he said that the Prime Minister, through the FSC, the regulatory body that monitors SSL, by issuing these persons a license, you are telling them directly or indirectly that, listen, it is safe. You can have full confidence in doing business with these persons without a shadow of a doubt. And that is exactly what Usain Bolt did, along with thousands of other Jamaicans, now victim of probably the biggest scandal in the history of Jamaica in the last couple of decades or so, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, people, everything that Bruce Golding said was true, could be verified, could be validated. However, Mr. Warmington, he had a problem with it because he claims that Bruce Golding is always swiping, taking shots at Andrew Holness as if this is some sort of dancehall clash. So people, I want you to take a listen, take a look to what Mr. Warmington has to say or had to say as it pertains to that topic. This is the edited version of the interview, and then I am going to give my piece.
It's a guy who has lost his relevance and is trying to be relevant. But by attacking your own party, you're supposed to be. Got to make you relevant. And I want to say, Bruce needs to stop it and stop it now. Back off. My position, based on a statement yesterday, is some program is on. Enough is enough. We're going to talk about, we're meant to encourage people to invest in stock and what they're doing. SSL? What on earth does the government have to do with SSL? That's a private investment entity. What I find with this guy, he always finds some reason to go after and do owners indirectly. And my position is, Bruce Golding, as leader, has been a failure. As Prime Minister, double failure. So, he need to stop it now. So I believe if there's an issue, Bruce Golding, who has been a former leader, a former Prime Minister, call Andrew Holness and talk to him behind closed doors. But he keep on sniping, and it's an attack indirectly on my Prime Minister, my government, my party. And I will defend the Jamaican Labour Party, Andrew Holness administration, and Prime Minister Andrew Holness with it, by any means necessary.
So people, you heard what Mr. Midnight had to say. One of the darkest MP in all of politics in the whole wide world. Him claims that Bruce look relevant because he is Mr. Irrelevant. He is looking a hype of Andrew Holness' name. That's why he is allegedly attacking Andrew Holness. Him pretty much I tell Bruce to stop right now, cease and desist. However, people, I thought that when you were a leader or part of a leadership or a government of a country, the truth is always factual. However, he might tell him, say, listen, we no want no truth. If you are a part of the JLP, you are going to ride our DIE. No matter what we do, how despicable it is, our leader, you should discuss this behind closed door in a private. This is a party matter. People, the last time that I checked, yes, Bruce Golding was a leader of the JLP. However, he is presently retired. Doesn't he have an opinion still? Or when you retire from the JLP, you also retire your opinion. Now, people, I don't know if this man, Mr. Warmington, he has selective reasoning ability. He asks a very strange question. What does Andrew Holness have to do with FSC? And what does he have to do with, more specifically, the SSL, Stocks and Security Limited? So therefore, since him no know or him act like him no know, let me explain. The government, through the relevant authority, FSC, they issued a license to SSL. SSL has been violating that license from day one. So therefore, Andrew Holness is the head of state. So therefore, Whoever was the relevant authority, meaning the FSC, they reported to Andrew Holness. Andrew Holness was also invested in this company. Andrew Holness got some funds, whether it was return, interest on his investment, or a loan, me no know, in the night. He is pretty much suspicious, a suspect in insider trading, the fact that he took his money and left the other 9,000 or so victims still. So therefore, that is a conflict of interest. Now, if you've seen any videotape of what goes on in the Parliament of Jamaica, you would think that these are some toddler. They are always bickering. So what Mr. Warmington is claiming is that Bruce Golding is throwing some sorts of subliminal after Andrew Holness. He is constantly doing it as if this is some sorts of dancehall clash. So people, it only shows you the mindset of our leaders. It is very disturbing. Now, we saw that Mr. Warmington, he was relentless. So isn't this a case of the pot calling the kettle black? Because the same thing that he's accusing Bruce Golding of attacking Andrew Holness, out airing the dirty laundry of the party outside the public, is the same thing that he is doing. And he is going hard in the paint. He is saying that Bruce Golding is a failure in life. Bruce Golding was a double failure as the Prime Minister of Jamaica. People, I am sure if you ask most persons right now did a survey, who is better or better yet, who is worse, they are going to say Andrew Holness is worse. He must say this thing should be discussed behind closed door. Do not air out the dirty laundry of the party in the public. Now, don't get it wrong. There is definitely nothing wrong with defending your party or your leader whenever it is appropriate, whenever it is warranted. However, when what the person says is fact, and then you're trying to oppose this fact, that means that you have a problem with the truth. You have a problem with the public knowing or seeing exactly what is going on. However, people, like me say, when persons have ulterior motive, when persons are looking at the bigger picture, not the moral or the ethical picture, the bigger picture, which is money. Money is power. Power is money. Vice versa. This man is saying that he is going to defend the party, defend Andrew Holness, the JLP administration, any means necessary, whether they are wrong or whether they are right. Now, people, this is what is wrong with Jamaica. It is backwards thinking and reason like this that has put Jamaica the way that Jamaica is. It is not very good. If the leaders are always bickering, if the leaders are so partisan, or the members of these parties are so partisan, where there is truth and something is exposed, them can't give them opinion because they should be afraid to get BASHED for telling the truth, calling out something that is problematic, calling out a crisis as in the SSL and the FSC. Something is definitely wrong. And people, that is why Jamaica is in the sad state of affairs that it is presently in, because of old backward thinking. They have not progressed, they have regressed, and they have no sorts of intention of changing. However, we live in an information age. Gone are the days when the regular media manipulated the truth. Now with bloggers like myself enlightening, opening the eyes of people, they cannot get away with the things that they once got away with. And people, this is new to them. They don't know how to act. And that is what you see being displayed in front of our eyes as it pertains to SSL, FSC, PNP, JLP, Andrew Holness, Warmington, and the rest of the posse, the mafiosa, point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. I understand that this might be your grandma's favorite YouTube channel. However, this is not the run-of-the-mill, average mama and papa channel. This is news with a buzz. If you appreciate videos like this, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Point blank and period.